to July 18th edition of Kevali Channeling Presents. I'm hoping, cross my fingers, that we're not going to have any technical difficulties tonight, because I am the king of technical difficulties, as everybody knows. I want to welcome my special guest today, Kimberley Buckler. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Oh, awesome. And you are from Cochrane, Alberta.
Yeah.
How long have you been out in Cochrane?
I moved out here in 92, just before
Okay.
this town blew up with housing.
Yeah. That's yeah. Because we moved out. When did we move out to Airdrie? We were deciding whether we wanted to go to Cochrane or Airdrie when we moved my family out here, and we decided Airdrie instead of Cochrane just because it was closer to the airport. So
yeah.
You are an author of 3 books that are actually published, and you have your 4th book coming up. Your 3 books. What are the name of your first 3 books?
The first one is Essentials for Natural Healing.
Awesome.
Right
there it is.
There.
Essentials for Natural.
Oh no, I'm sorry, the essence of who we are.
I was going to say, hold it. I'm reading something different than you're telling me. How long ago did you write that book?
I wrote it in 2015.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then your second book
was the one I said the first time.
Oh.
So the Essentials for
Natural Healing.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's quite a thick book. It's like
that is a thick book.
Yeah.
Wow. And what does that one cover? That covers like all kinds of different healings with natural medicine?
Pretty much. The idea of it was to share about different foods, and our food is our medicine, whether it's our herb or oils or vegetables, the fruits. And so I got a chapter on there about all the vitamins, and then chapters about all the fruits. So if you're looking for, hey, what I need vitamin A, and it'll list all the fruits and different foods that contain vitamin A.
Oh, very cool.
So then I have chapters in all the different fruits, and that will take you back to the different vitamins and herbs in there, essential oils. Our food is our medicine. And we've forgotten that.
It has been for millions of years.
And people forgot that.
We got away from it for some reason. Hundreds of years ago, we started to go more drugs and more drugs and more drugs. And now you go to the doctor, they don't even examine you. They just like, okay, here's more drugs, take that. When I agree, I think a lot of times diet and nutrition will be very helpful for some. I mean, you got to mesh them together, obviously. There's a place for modern medicine to go along with traditional medicine, right?
But it should go hand in hand.
Yes, they should. And your 3rd book
it's Entering the World of Multidimensional Healing.
Oh, is that about animal healing?
So the idea of that book is, over the years, I've had so many neat experiences with clients and just journeys I went on, and house clearing. So I do house clearings where I go in and clear the imprints that are left behind by, maybe sickness or abuse.
Yes.
I help spirits cross over to the other side. I also see things between the worlds or in between dimensions that some days you go, where the heck did this come from? But it's true. And you can't deny what you see.
Isn't that the truth? Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right?
You got her.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm crazy or anything. It's there. The information is there. and a lot of the stuff, when you relate it back to the homeowners, the affirmations I get are just phenomenal.
Well, let's take a trip back. We kind of started with the
Okay.
present. Now we're going to take a trip back. How old were you when you first realized that this was going to be something you do? This was something you were able to do. When I say this, though, you do Reiki, you do energy healing, I guess would be
Yeah.
the best way to say it. But you
Mm-hmm.
also do readings with tarot cards. Is it tarot cards? Is that right?
Yeah.
And what other cards? You use other cards?
No, mostly the tarot
Is it
cards.
tarot?
And I do
If
yeah. And then I work with Akashic Records too. So it's
you,
kind of like a
yes,
reading, but it's more on a healing basis.
it was. I have to confess. I don't know when it was. I'm going to say May. It was March, April, May, somewhere in there. When was it that you did the expo, the Calgary Expo, at the hotel, Marlborough
In
Hotel?
somewhere.
It was somewhere in the spring. Ellison
Yeah.
and I decided to have a date night. We went out for dinner and then we came over. We had no intention of doing a reading. We just wanted to check it out and kind of walk through and see what it was like. And we both walked through.
Okay.
Kimberly was actually, her booth was in the middle aisle. And we walked all the way around the outside of the room. And then we came up the middle. And both at the same time, I got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see this. Both at the same time, Allison and I both turned and walked to Kimberly's booth. It was one of those. And I looked at Allison. She goes, "We need to get a reading." And I went, "Yeah, we do." And Kimberly gave us a reading. And I'm telling you, it was one of the most accurate and useful, there's a good word, a useful reading that I've had in years and years. So thus, when someone suggested I get to interview Kimberly, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to. So you do all kinds, your readings are amazing. So when did you first realize that you were able to do these readings?
Oh man, just sort of holding back like all the gratitude I feel for what you just shared. Like
Oh my goodness,
it's
you are an amazing. Give amazing readings. Oh, I got goosebumps on my goosebumps again. This is
oh
going to be one of
Lord.
those hours.
Yeah. So
So
anyways,
how old
back
were
in
you when you first realized it?
when I started getting into this was 20 years ago. It was around
Okay.
2000.
Oh, okay.
And at first I was introduced to the energy work
Like
and
as in Reiki.
and there was a really good friend I had that was doing energy work on me, and she was practicing, and she do some really neat stuff. And one day she just said, um, it was time for me to read a book. So I read this specific book, and Rosemary Altea, Eagle and the Rose. And I read the book and I go, so we really can do energy work and we
Yeah.
really are psychic, all this other stuff. I
It's
read
not
it
just
in,
those gifted people.
yeah, I read it in less than a day.
Oh
I
wow.
just soaked that book up. And anyways, that was that's what I went forward with, and I started learning about energy work and doing readings. And from the readings I did 20 years ago to where I am today, there's a humongous shift, a
Oh,
humongous
I can
change.
imagine. Yeah. Especially after, I
Oh,
mean, I look back in the 2 years I've been doing this and the
yeah.
readings, I look back and the readings I did in 2020 compared to the readings I do in 2022. I'm like, why would anybody that did a reading in 2020 come back to me in 2022? Because they were not very good in 2020. I was all over the place.
I
So I
could
can
say
imagine
the
after
same.
20 years.
Yeah, I could say the same. And people have noticed over the years the difference. And we become
Nice.
more confident. And
I think we start to understand that you when your messages come to you, you can differentiate them from your own thinking compared to the messages you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
When we first start, there's that, is that me or is that them? Like, am I just making this stuff up?
Oh, if I doubt that, I get blasted. I get blasted because I get hit by overwhelming tears, wanting to cry,
Yes.
huge gratitude. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
get
And
zapped.
it's funny because I keep telling people, I'm like, I'm not here to convince you what I do is true. That's not what I do. I'm not here to like give you such details that you're going to be blown away and you're going to go, oh my goodness, Kevin, no, that's not what my job is. My job is just simple. It's really
That's
simple.
right.
It's just to pass a message from your spirit guides to you,
Yeah.
or from a departed loved one to you. That's it.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, take it to the next level with healing, going into Akashic records. Now, did you take training in Akashic records?
I did. I years ago I took past life regression, and it just didn't seem to ring a bell. And over the years, with the Reiki energy work, I noticed I was starting to go into other people's lives in the past lives. So I was drawn to take the Akashic records, and I did that with Holly, and it's the Linda Howe system.
Okay.
And when I did this workshop with Holly, oh, it opened the doors big time.
Nice.
I love it
Nice.
because it's so interactive, and the healing in there is really powerful.
You know
I
what?
feel it is.
I took my courses through Ken Lewicki, and he's very interactive. He tells you something and
Mhm.
then you practice it. He tells you something and then you actually do it. If it wasn't like that, I wouldn't have taken level 2 or level 3. I would have stopped at level 1 and went, because I'm not a guy that you can just talk to for an hour and I'm going to pick something up. I want to be able to have that interactive teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. So you took Akashic records, or you realized you were using Akashic records through your Reiki training.
And yeah, and this with the workshop I took through Holly, it brought more definition to what I was doing, and it helped me to refine some techniques with it.
Okay, nice.
So now I know, if we were doing an energy work, or even if we're doing a reading, and all of a sudden I start heating up, I know we're going into those records.
It's funny because I always know when I'm really connected properly, because my every hair on my arm stands up. I don't know if you can see it, but
Yeah.
whenever
Oh
I'm with
well.
somebody that is connected, it obviously there's double the energy in the room or in the stream. And I'm just like, okay, whew, slow down, bring the levels down. But you're right. You just know, when you're there.
Yeah. 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 The information, and I don't know if you've noticed it. I think you probably did. Just over the last few months, even the last year, it was like the doors opened up even more energetically, and the information we're picking up it blows me
It's
away.
it's and
It
I'm
blows
glad
me
you
away.
said that, because literally, like, my last 3 months worth of readings have taken on a whole different, I'll say a different level,
Yeah.
rather than me talking to a client and it's like, oh, Aunt Sally wants to come through and let you know she's fine and blah blah blah. Instead, it's way deeper. Spirits guides are coming in, and they're giving really relevant information to the now, and everything really has been focused on the now rather than something that's happened in the past. It's in the now, because right now this is where everything's happening.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, anybody who does this type of work knows that we changed into the age of Aquarius, and as soon as we did that, things just kind of went boom, and it's going to
Yes.
keep growing. It's amazing the people I meet on a daily basis that you would think would be the last person to be interested in a reading or getting some kind of healing done, but they're coming from all walks of life.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have your practice in Cochrane?
Yeah. Yeah. I practice from home. I also travel a little bit. See if there's a workshop or something, I'll take it out of town or go into the city with it.
Okay. But your actual
So
Reiki work is all done from your house. Do you do Zoom? Like, do you do long distance Reiki, or is it all in person?
I prefer energy work in person. There's only one other person I really do energy work for. You know what? I do Akashic Records over the phone or over Facebook.
Okay.
And hey, with that one, that there's a lot of healing going on, but it's different than doing Reiki, which I find.
Yes.
So for me, doing Akashic Records over the phone, I can do card readings over the phone.
Oh,
I
very
always
cool.
do energy work. I do both. So
Yeah.
that way it's possible. Yeah. But if it's to work on, do an energy work or do a Reiki session, I'd rather have that person. I'd rather have them there.
Gives you that more personal touch when you do that. Not that you're actually touching, but it gives you that in person is just something a little different.
Yeah, that's true too. And sometimes too, it feels like you're able to go to even deeper levels too when you're working
Yes.
on somebody's body because it's more easier to connect with their energy field and the blocks in there. And
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Now, what possessed you to write your first book? Possessed. There's a good word when we're discussing these. Oh, Kevin. My guys are like, did you just say that? So
But you know
what
what? It's
prompted?
that is actually absolutely flippin' perfect the way you said it. Um, it was really strange. I was driving my grandson home in 2015. And no, it was published in 2000. I was driving my grandson home. And when I was driving him home up to Cremona from Cochrane, I started having this really weird thought go through my brain. And it was about a car accident and whether or not I let my girls know. And I thought, I'll let them know afterwards when I know I'm okay. And then I thought, where the heck did that come from? So dropped
Yeah.
my grandson off, dropped and start coming back to Cochrane. And all of a sudden, like I came to this intersection. I think it's the 567. It's the road going to Airdrie. So I'm going south on
Yeah.
the 22. And I'm watching this intersection where Shell is because I really don't like it. And I sort of glanced that way, and all of a sudden, there's a vehicle coming towards me, and like this, I'm going 100 down the road, and she went like this. So I reefed the wheel of my car to go into the traffic,
Yeah.
and you're going, why? And that saved my hiney.
Oh,
The other
wow.
side of my car in the front was all smashed in. If I hadn't reefed my wheel, I wouldn't have made it.
We wouldn't be having this discussion.
You got her. You got her. And so, anyways, long story short, got through that. I had a couple of bruises. I did go through physio. I got a good knock on the noggin. But right after the accident, I started getting really angry. And I came into 3 people, and boy, did I bite their heads off. Some came up and I just chewed them out. And that's normally not me because I hold it back, right? So I phoned a buddy of mine and I said, Jeff, what's going on? And we had a talk, and he said, it's time for you to write a book. I go, huh? And he said, yeah, it's time for you to write a book. And I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about this, my car, and Archangel Michael, and because I called him in when I was before I left Cremona. I called him in. I asked him to be with me in that car. And so I decided it was time to write a book about empaths and working with the spirit realm. And working with the spirit and letting people know that, people, you and I, we're sensitive. So many of us are sensitive and we don't realize it. And we go, why is it that at home I feel it, and then I go to work and I feel horrid and I want to cry and I want to rip my hair out and all this other stuff that's hitting me? So you go.
So go ahead.
And then there was, so part of that book is explaining about being an empath and why we're so sensitive to things and people around us. And it also talked about spirits and that seeing spirits, we're not crazy. They're there.
Yes, they're there.
Their presence and what goes on around them, they're there. I've been attacked on the road by spirits. And that was one of my lessons, was setting boundaries with the spirit realm.
Very important.
Big time. Because when I talked to a shaman, and this was part of the book too, when I talked to that shaman, it was setting those boundaries. And when I'm in the car, I need to be protected. Big time.
Yes.
And
so that first book is a lot about being an empath and being an empath and starting to understand why we were or are like we are.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of this, and also explains too, some of the stuff they were told is a bunch of bull. So, for me to feel things doesn't mean I'm crazy. To be able to see the other side, the other realm, it doesn't mean I'm crazy. Don't dope me up and lock me up.
Yes.
Because it's for real.
Yes. Now, did they actually do that? Did someone say like you were nuts? So you were like, would stop talking about these spirits? Is that something that happened to you in your past?
It has happened where you hear stories about how people were told to shut up, or they were put into the mental institute because they saw things and they heard things, and this is not normal, and it was normal. And so many. And why did a lot of people go to alcohol? They saw stuff around them and they drank it away. They tried to drink it away.
Yeah. I remember vividly. I mean, I'm the youngest of 9 kids, and my dad crossed over when Mom was 8 months pregnant with me. And I can remember being a young child, and even into my young teenage years, I would have these dreams of sitting and having chats with my dad on these marble staircases.
Oh, wow.
And they were vivid. Like I would wake up and they were like, it was like I was talking to you right now.
Wow.
I remember mentioning it to people and they were like, that's just dreams. Forget about it. Like you're not really talking to Dad. And it wasn't until years later, married and with kids, that I actually read Sylvia Browne's book, and she goes in and talks about it. It's funny because I'm just rereading the book now. She goes in and talks about the marble staircases with the blue glass building behind us, and that was where we sat. So it was real. There's
Yeah.
nobody that out there in the world that can try to convince me that I'm crazy, or that
Yeah.
what I saw was just a dream, and now I'm remembering somebody else's rendition of that dream. I'm like, no, I was actually there. I have
Where,
confirmation for a fact I was actually there.
oh, I
So
could
I
feel
get
that.
it,
Yeah.
right? And you're right. There's so many people like ourselves who had to have the ability, which everybody does, to see see spirits, see souls that have crossed over, but
Mhm.
we're told it's not real. You have to stop
Yeah.
talking about that. So of course that earthly stuff just keeps getting piled on your head, to the point where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that must not be real. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, because you don't want to be different. You want to be able to
Yeah.
fit in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's quite interesting because right after I wrote that one, I went over to Australia and I explained it to my brother about this book, and he's going, "Oh, don't you tell anybody, Kim." And I go, "Mark, I love you, bro, but you got to remember Sylvia Brown, right? And how many other authors wrote about spirits in the spirit realm, and
Oh
they were not
yeah,
locked up,
yeah,
and they're safe."
yes. I mean, 100 years ago, maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion,
No, no,
right?
man, you'd be burnt at the stake.
Oh yes, exactly, exactly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And
It's
you
other
think of how many
people,
of our ancestors were literally burned at the stake or stoned because they had the devil within them, right?
and they didn't. No, they
Yes.
didn't.
Now your
Another.
second, your
Mhm,
now we're going to move to your second book, um, which is more on healing.
mhm,
What you went from, like, talking about your being an empath and your growth
yeah.
and that, and then all of a sudden we're going to write a book like that thick, all about
Even
healing. What possessed you to do that?
now that one was a dream come true. Um, that one was really a dream come true. In about 1997, I would say, I was experiencing depression. I was having a really hard time, and it got to the point where I didn't know what else to do. So I went to see the doctor, and he prescribed me an antidepressant, and
Oh,
I went and purchased it. But at that time, I was an office manager of a hardwood flooring store. So we had, we were in the office, and I put it up in the cupboard, and I wouldn't open that bottle. I wouldn't touch it. And the next day I went back to the drugstore. I said, "Look, I need some help. I don't want to take an antidepressant. What do you suggest?" So anyways, ended up going to the B vitamins. So when you do your research on the B vitamins and what they're good for, it'll blow you away. Um, in some cases where people are extremely depressed and you go into a hospital and you're admitted, one of the things they will check for is your B vitamin levels,
oh,
because
okay.
that's something that our bodies use up and deplete really quick through stress, depression, anxiety. And so anyways, I end up getting a B50 complex and vitamins, and within a couple of weeks I noticed a huge difference. Plus my energy was back. I wasn't crying. I felt way better. So I doubled them for a bit, and then I went down and just took one a day. And then there's times where now, till this day, I'll take them here and there. If I'm going through a little bit more stress, I'll go
Yeah,
to those B vitamins. So I started thinking about the things that we put in our bodies and we shouldn't be putting in our bodies, and the things that our bodies are lacking. And it was part of doing a whole bunch of research. And I thought of over my life, when my daughters were little and the things I did to keep a naturally clean home. And I kept document after document. And I worked for a health food store for a little bit and gathered information. So that book was a dream come true.
Oh, very
I,
cool. Very cool.
I, I, you, it is so hard to go into the library or any store and find that much information in one book.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that you can just have one book to kind of go through it all in one book.
Yeah, yeah. And then chapter 15 in this book, I'm going to see if I can find it really quick. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll use the depression as an awesome example. And so in chapter 15, the idea, it's sort of the catalyst for the book. So if, hey, I'm going through depression, what can I use for depression? So if I look at amino acids, L-glutamine and L-tyrosine is really good. Omega oils, omega-3 and omega-6. Vitamins, B1, B3, B5, B12. Going on, you can get your B vitamins in meat. So if you're a vegetarian, you need to consume more B vitamins, right?
Right, because you're not getting your B vitamins like I am, because I'm a meatitarian. And I had a beautiful steak today. It was gorgeous. But but you're right. I mean, you have to be able to balance that diet somehow.
Yeah, yeah. And so the idea of the book was to provide more options for our health and well-being instead of buying the chemicals, right? Or
Now, I'm getting that I'm going to use the word channeled, and you're probably not going to agree with me, but I am totally getting that you were literally channeling while you were writing these books. And a lot of times you were like, where did these words come from? Because I'm rereading it and it's not my words.
you got her, and you go, that sounds way too smart for me.
That's exactly. I didn't want to say it the way your guide said it. I was. They're bugging me. I was literally. I was massaging the message on that one because literally they're like, "Oh yeah, we had to help her on this one. There was a lot of work involved in this one." That is
And
awesome.
that's what I noticed with the first book because I tried to do a layout of it. And after the second chapter, I realized I had to go with the flow. And
Yes.
once I started going with the flow, the chapters followed one by one.
Yeah.
Also, the way I wrote stuff in all three books. And then, especially with my tarot deck. Whoa. So
Which
keep
we're gonna
that.
get to in a minute.
Yep. So that one, the same sort of thing. And I went back in there and I go,
How did I write
somebody
that?
help me out.
It's quite funny because when a lot of times when I do a session, my client will want it recorded, and I do all my sessions over Zoom. So I'll
Yeah.
record it and I'll go back and listen, and I'll be like, wow, I sounded intelligent in that one. And it's like I'm using words I would never use in a million years.
Yeah. And the gratitude for the help. And
Oh,
Jennifer helped me out tons with this last one with the editing and that. And she
and
knew
who's Jennifer? Let's remind
Jennifer
people who's Jennifer.
Rushforth. Yeah, Jennifer
Yes.
Rushforth. Yeah.
Mystic
And
Star.
pardon? Yes.
She
Yeah.
she owns Mystic Star.
Yeah. You've got her. And so she
Oh,
helped out with the
she's
editing.
listening and she says hello.
Hello, sweetheart.
That's
And it was
awesome,
magical.
Jennifer.
Yeah, she knew when I was channeling and who I was channeling, and it was neat. It
That's
was
awesome.
magical to have the confirmation. That's why I don't remember a lot of readings.
Yeah, me, and it's funny because I'll do multiple readings for clients where they'll book 3 or 4 sessions, and I'm on my 4th session and I don't remember the first session, and they're telling me about the first session. I'm like, and finally I'm like, I have to just accept when I do a reading, it's gone. After I give it,
Yeah.
it's gone because it's not my words, it's their spirit guide's words or words from a loved one.
Yeah,
So, of course, you're not going to remember it being the same way, right?
that's right. That's right.
So, let's talk about your 4th book. We're going to jump. No, we have to talk about your 3rd book. What's your 3rd book?
Oh, entering the world of multidimensional healing.
What is that one?
So that one is, I have an expert. I did little chapters on the fairies, the dragons, the angels,
Oh,
the animal kingdom. So
nice.
over the years, I've learned to connect with them. And first it
So
was
cool.
the angels,
Nice.
and then the fairies came in, and the animals kingdom came in, and the dragons came in.
And you just did this on your own. You didn't take courses to learn how to do this.
No,
See,
no,
I am so lucky because I got to take a course with somebody who did what you did, learned how to do it by themselves, and has now decided to teach people. So it would be for I'm able to condense my learning experience from 20 years down to 2
oh wow.
because somebody else like yourself decided, you know what, we need to put this information out there to make it easier for somebody else, which is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, you got her. And you know what? All we need to really do is ask. And
Yes.
that's how I learned. I asked my guides to teach me about the totem animals, and I started seeing them up on them, and they came at nighttime, and oh, I'm getting zapped.
I think the most amazing thing I've done in my journey so far was connect with my dragon. It was just the most amazing
Oh, wow.
experience. Oh, I got goosebumps on my goosebumps. It's the most amazing experience I think anybody will ever have in their journey. If you get the chance, check out your dragon, people. It's cool.
Yeah, I I've got a color in mind. Do you know what color your dragon is?
Yes, it's kind of, I'm going to say kind of a bluey purple metallic thing.
Thank you.
It's, and I always do this. It's a bluey purple kind of meshy metallic. It looks like almost like a
Yes,
metal kind of intertwined blue and purple. It's just a beautiful. Oh, I got goosebumps.
a
It's
shimmery.
yes,
Yeah, it's like
yes,
a shimmery
yes.
purple to me. So the purple stood out. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's I've actually had the experience to ride on my dragon, and yeah,
Oh wow.
it's a cool experience. It's a very cool experience. Um, oh, okay. Now the guys want to move to your new book that you're just starting to put out there. It's called.
It's a book that goes with my tarot deck.
Okay, that way.
So
There we go.
yeah, so it's a keeper of ancient wisdom tarot.
Oh, cool.
And I, over the last few months, I kept on saying it was a book, because I didn't say too much, and it is a book.
It's a book.
I tried calling it a booklet, and I got lovingly corrected. And 279 pages. I have not seen another support book like before. And I, in a year ago, just over a year ago,
Jennifer's going to interrupt you, Kimberly. Jennifer's going to interrupt you and say it's not a booklet. She's calling it a
that,
book.
that big boy is a book, she said.
That's awesome.
It's magical. I was guided by my Reiki master to share my artwork, and I
Oh,
do
nice.
batiks. And what got me into that is she seen my artwork, and she said, your artwork needs to go into a message deck.
Oh,
And then I went to thinking about the tarot deck, and I took on the biggest challenge ever. And what a batik is, it's a piece of material. And what you do is you draw a picture on the material,
okay.
and the material starts off as white, right? So you
Yeah.
draw your picture on. And the way I do mine is I paint in I painted in the eagle and the branch and the chain and the sun. And I covered those areas with wax, and then I did all the dots with wax.
Oh, okay.
So what the wax did was it kept that area white. And then I
Right.
immersed the whole piece of material into dye. And I added a bit more wax on it to give it a consistent color. And then you
Oh,
iron all the wax out. So what you got is a piece of material that's been dyed and waxed, and a lot of times you get a crinkle behind it in it too. So like the eagle head, you can see where there's a crinkling in the white.
oh
That's
yeah.
where
Okay.
the
Yeah.
dye went through the wax. So that's interesting. So anyways, yeah, I did 78 batiks to create a tarot deck. And the tarot deck is based on
Sorry. How many pictures did you draw like that? Did you say 78?
78.
Is that it? Okay. And you're talking to somebody who has no clue about tarot. Is that norm? Does most tarot cards have 78 cards?
Yeah, the tarot deck 8. Oh, there's another one.
Oh, look at that one. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, the colors.
Oh, I like the whales.
So in a tarot deck, the major arcana has, so it goes from 0 to 21. And then
Okay.
you have the minor arcana, and you have 4 suits. And each one of those normally have 14 cards each. So when you
Okay.
add all up, it's a 78 card deck.
So in each card is a different picture that you just drew.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So with that one, so that that blue one is part of the major arcana. There's one of the
Okay.
cards.
Oh,
So
very cool. Okay.
oh, yeah,
Yep.
so what we did was we put the batik into an oval shape, and Heather, amazing graphic artist, did the beautiful crinkle effect out the card.
Nice.
So there's there's that very first one. That's funny how that popped right up.
Oh, isn't that cool?
Yeah, so you
What is
go
okay?
from
Just because you went from that to that, what is that card? You have to tell us what that card and what it means.
So that one's the very first one in the major arcana, and it's the eagle and the restrictions.
Okay.
So a lot of it has to do with how we hold ourselves back.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the right up,
That makes sense. I know why that was put on there.
yeah, yeah. What I did was the eagle is representing the major arcana, and the idea is that is the flight. So the eagle, that flight to go to the highest levels, right? To achieve,
Okay. Yes.
and it's really magical. So I'm going to read just a teeny tiny part of this. So,
Please do.
a person can fool themselves into believing that their ideas or goals are not obtainable. A belief that we hold onto that stops us from a new beginning, and we feel that we lack the tools to go forward. When we were little, we are little, our sweet and innocent minds bring amazing ideas and inspirations. That is when our third eye is open, we can see all the possibilities of all the realms. We see this as being the truth. Sorry, get zapped.
Yeah, I can feel it.
And then someone comes along and tells us that our dreams and thoughts are illusions. When we get stuck, whose feelings are we listening to? Our own fears? Are the fears our own, or are the fears someone else's? Is someone telling you not to do something that reflects their own fears? Where did their illusions of self-doubt come from? Did they get this from their parents or from a sibling or even a teacher at school? When this happens as a child or an adult, we lose the connections with our dreams and imagination and thus spirit energy. You got to trust your heart and intuition that this brings freedom and joy with unlimited possibilities to follow. Our imagination can bring amazing new beginnings, and you are the creator of your life. And our heart sings when we're doing something we love, doing without restrictions. So I got next tools for support, so we can release the blocks we hold on to by providing forgiveness for others around us and for ourselves for holding on to unhealthy beliefs. We can use Akashic records to find the blocks or work with crystals such as carnelian to provide self-confidence. Oh, get zapped again. To take us forward. Working with clear quartz, smoky quartz, and ruby with ozite can help clear our third eye and our solar plexus. Take your time working with the crystals. As you work with your crystals, know your strength will get stronger and your intuition and third eye will open again to unlimited possibilities. Getting zapped. The affirmation. I allow myself to let go of restraints and be free to shine as me.
Nice.
So that's the first card.
Wow, I got goosebumps on my goosebumps, Kimberly. That message was for me, by the way. I won't tell you why, but there was a reason I had to hear that. I'll tell everybody sooner or later, but for right now, I'm going to tell you after the fact. Thank you. That book is damn special, and I use the word damn on purpose. How long did it take you to, because for every card you have a write-up like that, is that correct?
Yeah.
And some are longer than others.
Yeah. Some of them are 3 to 4 pages long.
It went from a booklet to a book.
Oh, big time.
Yes.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on this tarot card deck?
So if we go a year, just over a year ago, February, so a year in February, March, April, May, June, so a year and 5 months ago, I was told about this, and on my birthday in that February, I actually started writing. And
really? Okay.
And as I wrote, I started drawing the pictures. So as I did each card, I drew the picture that was going with that card.
Oh, wow.
And after I did all the drawing and the cards, that's when I started painting the material and everything. So it took me about February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. I drove poor Jennifer nuts that month. I think about 8 months to do the major part of the writing.
Wow.
And then finally something shifted, and I went back to it a couple months ago, and now got the first deck printed.
Nice. You let go of the block. Your guides are saying you had literally a block that you didn't want, similar to what you just read. You didn't want to succeed, and that block was removed, and you were just able to literally soar like an eagle and get it done.
That's because I finally listened.
Exactly. Isn't that the truth? When we finally listen, damn.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Jennifer. So Jennifer helped you out a lot with this, putting this together.
All the support and the editing and the nudge to use the Kickstarter. That was humongous. I was able to raise a lot of funds doing the Galaxy Fair, and
Nice. Now
we're
the
stuck
Kickstarter,
on the last part.
it was funny because when you first mentioned the Kickstarter, my earthly brain said, be careful with this. There's so many not worthy. This is so damn worthy of being kickstarted. So where can, if somebody, explain what you're doing. So you put this out onto Kickstarter and people are pre-buying the book or pre-buying the cards. How does that work?
So what you do is you create a couple, some options, and I created 2 options. And the first option is a limited edition, what I'm calling a limited edition. So it's a tarot, and it's also one of the boutiques. So for a little bit more support, so I'm going to sell the tarot $34 on the shelf, right?
Yeah.
And along with it, we'll get, I put that up to $64. That's one
So
option. And another option is buying the tarot, and that's $44. Pledge a little. So it's magical because I know I'm offering something that's, anyways, I don't know
yes,
what to say next.
that makes total sense. So if somebody wants to go and go to this Kickstarter, where can they look it up? Where can they go to?
So I've got it on my Facebook page. It's Kimberley Buckler on Facebook. So
Excellent.
it's on there. I think I
And
put
for
it
people
on.
who are
I hope I
following
did.
me, you did. I saw it on there. So people who are following me after the show, I'm going to go and I'm going to copy it and bring it onto my page and paste it onto my page. So it would be nice and easy for anybody that is looking for it. And Jennifer, if you're able to, if you have the link, if you can just post it into the chat, that would be amazing. Jennifer's been commenting. I don't know if you're watching your Facebook, but Jennifer is commenting as we go. So Jennifer, if you could do that, that would be really, really cool.
Oh, sweetheart.
She's awesome.
So
people locally want to get in touch with you, and I have a feeling I'm getting a strong message that there's people out there that really want, once they hear this, they're going to want to reach out and be able to either get in touch with you and talk to you, whether it be on Facebook or I don't know if you do Zoom. If you do readings and whatnot over Zoom, this might be something you want to check into and explore.
Yeah.
Your guides are like, oh yeah, nudge her, give her the push, because it's what you have to offer is really needed, and the way you go about offering it is what's even the coolest part, because you're such a beautiful soul, and you're so. When I go back to the very beginning of this conversation when Jennifer just put the link in the chat. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Please, people, if I don't usually ask and I don't usually promote anything, I'm telling you, this is something you need to go and click on that Kickstarter and help this lady out, because this is what we need. This is what the campaign is 13% funded as we speak. Let's push it. It's the middle of August. No, it's the middle of July. Let's see if by the middle of August we can get that to 100%. I think we can. I'm going to be continuously reposting that link, because I think.
Thank you very much.
And it's funny because when I first started this conversation, I was like, I'm going to be very careful when I come to this whole Kickstart part. I'm going to be careful with it. And my guides are now like, no, We need to hammer this because there's something in this book that others are going to need. And I feel it. I feel it right in my heart that it's something that people need, even if they're not doing tarot.
Yeah.
If they never use a deck to give readings to somebody else, if it's just for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And Jennifer
Yes.
said you don't need to know tarot. And what's magical about
Thank you,
this deck,
Jennifer.
I gotta share, there is tons of healing techniques in there, from cord cutting to forgiveness to using crystals and herbs, and it's magical medicine in there.
That's what I'm
And
feeling.
it's a beautiful healing tool, and even I go in there, pop in there, and I get some good reminders.
And Ellison, if you're watching, yes, I'm going to log on and I'm going to be helping out and getting another tarot card. Ellison picked up a set of tarot cards. I don't think we've touched it, so we're going to get another one, and who knows if we'll touch it. So, but it's the book that I think is more important, that goes with the cards, that people have to be able to have both together.
Big
Is
time,
going to be the
yeah.
special part. So, Kimberly, thank you for this hour. It's been an absolute blessing.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Thank you very, very, very much. And it was magical to meet you and your wife. It was amazing.
It was. And I'll let you call her my wife. Hey, Allie. It's a private joke between Ellison and I. Anyways, thank you so much. I so appreciate you taking the time to come on and spend an hour with me. Take care of yourself, and let's keep in touch.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It was an honor to work with you. Take care.
Talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, people, that was just so special. Thank you for tuning in. I so appreciate all of you. It's been an absolute blessing. And next week, we have a special guest, Stephen Lenz, and his story is going to blow your mind. So until then, thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.